Hi, in this video I'd like to share with you an interesting correlation I found between candidates who passed job interviews. And how did I arrive to this correlation? Well, at first I have access to thousands of your stories. I also receive feedback from many of you, mostly people share their interview outcomes when they're successful. But nevertheless, I think there's something interesting for you to help to guide you through the process of what makes a great interview prep, but also a great support document for yourself during job interviews. Okay. Also interesting for you to know would be that most people who pass these job interviews do take the STAR format seriously. So I would say 95% of the people that I'm referencing here did prepare their stories in the STAR format and did provide their answers in the STAR format. The remaining 5% would be exceptional ones who can, go far beyond those STAR formats. Okay, but the correlation that I wanted to share with you here would be that people who tend to pass these job interviews, the length of the stories they prepare is almost always around 1 page. Okay, 1 page, or if you want characters without spaces, around 2,500 characters. But I found that this seems to be the magic length of a story for successful candidates. And I was actually looking at candidates who had story banks with stories far longer than 1 page, with 2 or 3 pages. And I believe that's not a mistake on the condition that's so to speak, the brain dump of whatever you can remember of a story which happened maybe a while back. So, in order to bring that story closer to 1 page, you would want to revise it a couple of times. Okay, even better structure it in the STAR format, right? So, if a story is too lengthy, then chances are it's not in its final version. Right now, the bulk of the stories that I have access to are way under 1 page. Okay, and probably this is the major takeaway for many of you watching these videos, is that you should bring your stories to that 1 page. Okay, so you should develop those ideas until they're 1 page. Why am I saying this? Well, because in my experience, it's not the shortest answers that that correlate with the best interview outcomes, right? And furthermore, by preparing 1 page stories, this doesn't mean your delivery will be that 1 page story. Okay, I mean, in the job interview, you would adapt your interviewing style based on your interviewer's preference. Maybe they would introduce themselves briefly, so then you might want to keep it shorter than 1 page, or maybe they would prefer you have longer, convincing first answers, which often tend to have significantly better outcomes. But I believe this idea of building your story bank around 1 page stories or 1 page answers, you could call them however you like, even if you don't build a story bank. Okay, but if you focus on having your answers for 1 page, of course not rewarded with AI, I believe that's a beginner's mistake, but this will set you up for success, so to speak, because this is the length that is sufficient to give enough context for most of the stories, most of the ideas that you would want to communicate within these job interviews, right? Also, maybe interesting for you to know is that these candidates rarely had over 25 stories. Some had as little as 10 stories for their job interviews, and these were not for junior types of roles, right? Like I could easily see a junior role apply with 10 or less stories. Okay, but the magic here, I was actually quite surprised it correlated so well with positive outcomes, is that there always tend to be around the 1 page mark. So long story short, if you want to prepare interviews seriously, target your answers to be 1 page. So I hope you found this useful, and thank you very much for watching.